Cloud, and welcome to
Okay.
the latest edition of Star 80, 80 Gowns, 80 Dolls, and 80 Years. And I'm thrilled to have Nick Ted all the way from, tell us what part of the globe you're from.
I'm from England. I'm sitting in Nottingham in the United Kingdom at
That
the
was
moment.
Nottingham,
Yeah.
England. Okay, for those of us that are geography, challenged with geography, how many moments or stops are you from London?
I'm north of London. I'm about 150 miles from London. It takes about 2 hours on the train to get there, 2 hours drive. So not
Great.
far at all. Right now, I'm sitting in a place called Sherwood, which is to do with Sherwood Forest, where Robin Hood used to court Marion. But
Yeah.
I don't have green tights on.
Yeah, I'm a bibliophile, so my neurodiverse brain just went there to Robin Hood. So, that being said, what's most exciting to me is that you were featured in a Diana Ross video from her latest Grammy-nominated album called "Thank You," and the song was called "If the World Could Dance," which is reminiscent to me about Maddie Stepanek's mission. He was a young man who passed on too early, but is a saint, in my opinion. And I'm friendly with his mom and the foundation that his JP Stepanek. He was a peacemaker, and his one of his statements was, if it's raining, after it rains, just get out and dance and just make things good. And that's
Absolutely.
kind of a message in a lot of Diana Ross's songs. And I was really excited to see you in that video. So
Me
before we
too.
go into any deep dive questions, were you like moved by yourself, or did you feel like, oh, I really did it? Like I am cemented in the Diana Ross legacy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what did you feel? Were you euphoric? Were you?
Yeah, getting in the video was fantastic. I've been recognized so many times, but it came about because she put a call out
Yes.
for people to do it. The lyrics of the song for me were perfect for the COVID time because I'm sure it was the same in your country. We were on lockdown. So,
Absolutely.
and the lyrics were very much like, just find a space with an empty place and get down and dance. And I
Yeah.
think it's really of the time it was recorded because people were in their own homes. It
Yeah.
was a global pandemic. I just think it was perfect for the timing. And it
Yeah.
was also like a message of hope. But yeah, I actually couldn't believe it. And when it comes up on YouTube, it's me on the cover.
Wow. Wow. So
I
that there's
know.
such things as that's not a happy accident. There's that's meaningful. And I like that it says the boss too. Because I
Yeah.
think that you had the Diana Ross, the boss was your
I
teacher.
customized my t-shirt. I cut the sleeves
Oh,
off
I
and I made
noticed.
one of them into
I
a
noticed all that.
headband.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's seven-ish in the morning. I in New York. It's 12:45, 1-ish in the afternoon in Binghamton, London. So I want to go into did I say the city right? Because I'm not I got
Yeah,
that right. Okay.
it's 1 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, so the deep dive, Star 80 deep dive question. And of course, if you're anyone just tuning into this, I'm interviewing Diana Ross fans from all over the world because we're counting up the days until Diana Ross turns 80 on March 26. All right. So beyond the Supremes classic, which Diana Ross song holds a special place in your heart and why?
Okay, this varies all the time because I've always got a Dinah Ross playlist on the go. I have
Well,
done for
then
decades.
we know each other enough. Then tell me, like, what song that Diana Ross has in her very storied career and large body of work. Was there a song, particularly in terms of like we can go, what like that got you through like something really, really, really stressful, or like you didn't think you could do it, and the song pushed you through? Because music is I think it's medicine. Motown to for me is
Yeah,
medicine. It really helps
yeah.
me get through when I was sick or anything, or when there was any struggle in my life. There's certain go-to songs. And I was wondering if in Diana Ross's vast catalog, and I guess we can include the Supremes,
Yeah.
what song really, it just didn't it just really got you through something that you didn't think was
Okay.
possible. Like it really,
That's an easy one to answer. So that the response to that is "Corner of the Sky" from the Diana Ross live album. It's from the musical Pippin, and it's basically a song about the character, somebody who is searching for meaning and identity and his place in the world. And I think we've all probably done that. I
well,
don't
Corner of
think
the Sky. Corner of
Yeah.
the Sky. I actually repurposed that album from 1974, which actually has enough recordings to have like a double album. There's
Yeah.
a lot on it. And of course, I just pushed in my Diana Ross Star 80 puppet, which I've got more
Cool.
than 80. The You actually have a study of the before I did them, which I thought I wasn't going to do, but you have a study, I think, of the Central Park gown with the orange bodysuit. I
I
think I
really
did.
do. I
Yeah.
really do. It's framed. It's right here.
Thank you. Thank you for having your props ready. Corner of the Sky is a song that Ross did in the 1974 film. They recorded her really amazing show in Vegas with multiple costumes. And if you have the album Alive in Caesar's Palace, the original pressing, there's a little window. You can fold out all these amazing, glorious Diana Ross photos that she's performing live, including the candy stripe Mackie gown, which Rhonda sang with her at Robert Albert Hall with a white fur. And recently,
That's
I
right.
think they did that juxtapose the pictures from that time to when Ross was there in Robert Albert. I think it's Robert Albert Hall. I think it's a
Yeah.
historical concert venue. Were you there?
I was there, yeah. I was there on the first night, and we couldn't believe it that the backdrop was there with just as you described, and Rhonda came out, and sadly it was only for one number, but
Yeah.
brilliant. You know, it's like being on hallowed ground. The Royal Albert Hall is
The Royal Albert is really
iconic and really special
Well,
too.
it's not just iconic, it's just old as dirt. I mean, it's as old as they can get. I mean, it's really, really old, which is
Yeah,
amazing because when things have storied lives within it, there's just so much history in that building. And I mean, that
yeah,
predates lights, I think. I mean, it's like electricity. It's pretty incredible. So I
yeah.
love that you were there, and I'm not surprised. I think you and I are head to head, but maybe you've surpassed me with seeing Diana Ross as many times as I have. I'm not usually not in the front row because on the record, I usually pass out or I'm in just complete awe. But I haven't, but it's just you see it quite a bit and you travel, which is really exciting. So
Yeah.
the Star 82 question, evolutionary enigma, from Motown girl group to disco diva, Oscar nominated actress, which era of Diana Ross's career I mean, she's been in the spotlight most of her life. I mean, just like since she was 14, 15, she was signed to a label and then Motown in 61 when she was 16, about to turn 17. That's a majority. She's about to turn 80. What is what part of Diana Ross's career do you like the most? If you could pick
Okay.
maybe like a pile
That's
of notes from a decade or a
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Take Me Higher era encapsulated
wow.
everything for me and what I'm about. I'm a hairdresser by trade.
I was going to mention her.
I've worked in fashion. I'm an artist. I've
It,
got a degree in fine art, really visual. And I think that the photographs, the concept, the music, it was all of it for me. It was the entire package and it was a major comeback. But because I own hairdressing salons, I've actually got three. At that point, I was working in them. And of course, it was CDs in those days before we had our Apple Music and Spotify and everything. So clients having their haircut were like, "Who's this?" And I go, "It's Diana Ross." And they go, "Are you kidding me?" Especially Don't Stop with the rap. I mean, some quite cool clients were listening. And
yeah,
it's like, you get
don't stop, right? Has the
Don't
rap,
Stop. Yeah.
a good
But it was
rap.
like that whole era for me because I managed to see the concert. She didn't actually tour Take Me Higher in the UK, but she did one concert and she brought the dancers from the Take Me Higher video. And it was basically called the Twix Mix. Twix, I don't know if you have it in the US, it's a candy bar.
Oh,
And yeah, so it was kind of like they've got Boys to Men, Soul to Soul, but Diana Ross was headlining. It's the first time we got to see the videos from Take Me Higher
wow.
because I'd not managed to see them before then, before YouTube and everything. So yeah, that era for me, I think everything. I just love the styling, love the photography. I love the fact she went back to her mother's roots in the deep south, Mama's
Yeah.
Bessemer, Alabama. The videos from then, and it just still feels so overlooked to me. Although we're really aware of it, I think that
It went to the top 10 in the UK. I knew
yes,
that I know it was top 10. And I remember it came the Cher album, the Tina Turner album, and the Diana Ross album from
hmm
1995 all came into the UK first. And I have a store in the city called Record Runner, which I really should bring you to when you come next.
yeah,
And it has every import from every part of the world of every singer that you adore, like I do.
yeah,
And I remember getting an import copy of Taking Heart, which was not sepia, it was black and white, and the mixes were different, and the songs were different, and even the
yes, they
print on
were.
paper was different. And
Yes,
I got the Cher album way before it was released in the States, and it was the big mix. I prefer the UK version, and same with the Tina Turner album. The cover I liked it better because it was just more Herb Ritz, like fresh and in color. And then they released those albums later. But Diana Ross's came like a little bit later. You always got your albums before we did.
hmm
The album that was different was Every Day's a New Day. We got it domestically first, and Japan had it, and then it came out with a different typeface. So it's interesting that Take Me Higher is the album or the era that you choose. I'm doing my homage to her hair and her face like she did in the live video. That's a lie. I just know
I'm impressed.
everything's backwards. So the whole album in terms of I remember she signed my copy. That was the second time she signed something for me, and they said Miss Ross will not personalize anything. And she
hmm
saw me, and there was a film crew there, and I was like totally my energy is like so I had so much energy when I was little, like younger, and it was so fun to see the footage years later because I'm like just moving like a mad person. But she signed it to Timmy and she put like, she goes, oh, I put too many M's in it. There's like four M's in my name. And she laughed and she looked gorgeous. And I remember that was one of the three encounters I had with her, but two were signing and one was she touched my face. Now, were you at the Houston lecture in Houston?
No, no, I didn't go to that.
I went to that. That was when she touched my face. And because I was in the crowd and we were all leaving, and it was in this Capital One arena. And I think most people there thought she was going to sing, but she actually lectured, and I lecture for a
Yes.
living, so I think that's really cool. So I was there with Dustin, of course, in the front row, and she walked through, and she had this gold jacket with that cincher, black and
I
gold.
saw, yeah, I saw all of you there.
And then she pointed to me, and I felt like, wow, like wow. I felt I was Diana Ross and she was Josephine Baker, and she pointed, and she didn't do like this, but she pointed to me, and the whole room just parted, it seemed like. And I walked up to her, and she grabbed my face and said, and I said, oh, it's an honor to meet you. I enjoyed the lecture, and I just was just about to faint, and I didn't fan out. And she goes, I have a plane to catch, and I thought, wow, she felt me. And it felt really good. So we're going to go into the next question, fashion and flair. Which Diana Ross hair era do you like? Do you like the Take Me Higher
Hmm.
era that I'm kind of juxtaposing with my bad hair morning? Or
Hmm.
I'm going to keep it. It's meant to be. No.
Okay, I am actually going to go with the album after Take Me Higher, Every Day is a New Day, because I thought the hair was astronomical in that photo shoot.
Yeah.
And in the videos that you see as well, I just thought, whoa, iconic Diana Ross, but actually with the times, it's almost like she'd evolved it into the way that oversized afro hair was styled in fashion magazines at that time. So
Yeah.
although people say she hasn't changed the look, I can really see the eras,
Yeah.
like from the 70s afro to it. I don't know whether we'd even call it an afro hairstyle for Every
Well,
Day is
there's
a New
her
Day.
story and there's hair story. I mean, she's got quite a
Yeah,
story, hair story. There's like so many different, you know, dimensions to her hair, which is part
yeah,
of her image. And the Every Day's a New Day era is quite the hair story. I mean, it really is incredible. And I like the footage from the photo
yeah,
session
me too.
uses,
Yeah,
and like I seem like she's like kissing in front of a mirror to kind of get, kind of like working with herself to make sure that the photographer knows what they're doing. And
yeah,
I like that kind of control. I think it's
yeah.
important. You have to know where the camera is. And, during the Everyday's New Day era, she was on Oprah Winfrey, a popular talk show.
Correct. Yeah. Yes.
And like there was a light that she wore the dress that was red, and I thought it was genius because her hair was really teased out. She had like the red wings in front of her, and then she lifted up and said, "He lives in you." And there was
That's
a
correct.
lighting in the middle of her gown, or the red gown. She wore it in that song, which I think is the best song of the 90s, In the Ones You Love, which went to like 32 in the UK from The Voice of Love, which there was a
Yeah.
red, it was like everything was red in the tour, and it was The Voice of Love, and they had a great program. And I know it was specifically Europe because it was after the Take Me Higher era. But it was like that compilation of love songs with three new recordings. And in the ones
Hmm.
she wore that dress with I think the animal print in it, but it was in sepia because Randy St. Nick
Correct.
did it. Okay. So the point I'm making with that is the lighting was positioned in a certain way that it really like distracted a lot, and yet it made it work. And I remember talking to Dustin, of course, about it. He goes, "Oh, she didn't." I said, "Oh, no, no, she does. She really knows." I mean, if you work with Steve Binder all the time, you know that Steve
Of course
Binder
you
is
do.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
angle that you want. He worked with Elvis. He worked with them since the Tammy Show, which is right here. And of course,
Whoa.
If you watch the Tammy Show, you will see an Oscar nominee, Terry Garr, and her roommate at the time, Tony Basil, who choreographed this
Right.
thing. So she was with Mick Jagger looking at the wigs, and I saw this woman, this young woman, do this singing Where Did Our Love Go? And they couldn't believe. Tony told me herself, she couldn't believe. And so did Mick Jagger, like, wow, who's that? She's got it. And she really does. She was only 20 years old and she did this pose, and the other two were great, but she really had this confidence, this regal era. And okay, number four. Star 80 question, live or studio? Diana brings fire to the stage in the recording booth. Would you rather witness her in person, performing live, or get lost in the nuances of her recordings?
Okay, my answer to that is live, and I'm going to base that on attending a 75th birthday celebration at the Hollywood Palladium because for
Oh, you were
me,
there
and
with Dustin.
yeah, for me and for the people that I attended with from the tribe, we said that was our Central Park Pantages theatre moment. It was kind of like, I don't think we're ever going to be able to top it for an experience. It was
Wow.
incredible. So for me, the answer is live, definitely, but that specific performance, Diamond Diana.
Diamond Diana, I had my props ready. So it's interesting because I have not that you asked, I have my moment. It was when I spent not 100, not 200, but $2,000 to see her at Divas 2000
Oh my God.
celebration of Diana Ross or something like that, tribute to
That went
Diana.
on for hours, didn't it? Didn't the
But
recording go on for?
I was there and I was in the front because I paid 2 G's, and I brought my friend, and she wasn't into Diana. Well, she was into me being into Diana, I think. But I remember I was like with all the celebrities and it was long, and I loved it. I really did. I remember going to VH1 because it was an auction and I had to get it. And so it was like 2000 though, not year 2000. I was like not even 30 yet. And I was like, I remember going to Viacom on Broadway because I walk there. I live in Manhattan. And I remember crying. What a surprise, having my tickets in my hand because I couldn't believe it. Because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to see the Supremes, at Divas Live. I'm going to see
That's
RuPaul.
right. Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to see Mariah Carey, Donna Summer, the Beyonce, and I think Faith Hill and a few other people. But for me, it was and also Nile Rodgers. He was conducting, and he actually discovered his wife partner Nancy discovered the doll and the Sage doll. So I've kind of connected with that. So that was really an amazing thing. I won't ask how much you spent on that concert for the 75th birthday, but was it more than I paid? It's a
For
lot.
the what? Yeah, the one in Hollywood. That was a pretty penny, but I'm sure that that one that you went to, I would have loved to have been there. I'm very jealous.
Oh, don't be jealous. Because it made my life, but it ruined my credit rating. All right, so unexpected gems. Which hidden treasure by Diana Ross, like a song that really like you think it deserved more attention than it got. Like it was released, it was promoted. Records are magic, like movies are magic. Anything that really blows up, it's like the holy something, says
Okay.
that's it. You know what I mean? So like even
Okay.
becoming a star is magic. Like you have
Yeah.
to have it, but like it also has to all line up with everything. So what song do you think, with Murder on the Dance Floor charting again? Because I remember it. but like it's becoming a hit-ish in on the Billboard charts after like years of not ever being a hit, except for on the dance
Okay.
floor. What Diana Ross song or even project is an unexpected gem that you just think deserves a little bit more to like maybe like some miracle will happen and it'll chart and
Okay.
resonate with the world?
My answer to that is 1989 working overtime. So I've literally just moved to London. We'd started, there was a dance movement, acid house in our country, like warehouse parties, illegal raves.
Mhm.
And the project was released. It was on TV. Two or three of the songs actually charted in the UK. But I was at this really cool rave, an illegal warehouse party with thousands of people, and Paradise came on in a mix that I'd never heard. But at that time, I'd just moved to London. It was a soundtrack to me going out and about in London. It's a really special time for me. I actually caught the show. She toured it, so I caught the show when she came to London. But I think that it's often been slated. I mean, even Lyle Rogers, who produced it, sort of laughs about it in interviews. But some of the tracks I think really stand up well. And I wish the album would have been called Bottom Line, because that is probably one of my favorite tracks. I think it's really uplifting. And I
What
understand the album
song?
wasn't called
What's
Bottom
the song?
Line.
Bottom, yeah,
Bottom Line, yeah.
but I have to say the UK mix of Bottom Line is so much better than the domestic one. And
Yeah, yeah.
I somebody gave me a Mondo or Fred gave me a bootleg of all the recordings of Working Overtime for the record. I was
Wow.
excited. I posted it, and then I was blocked on Facebook. So
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
if the Diana Ross gods were like, "Don't do that." But it had scratch vocals of her singing like practicing. And then it also had the mixes of different mixes. And the UK bottom line radio did like it more than, and it really was radio friendly. I agree. It should have been called
Yeah,
Bottom
yeah.
Line. And some of the, A&R also is like something that I'm not into, but I wish I could have been an A&R person for that album. I agree. So yeah, Working Overtime is a hidden gem. And who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Um, Number six, legacy in the making. In your opinion, what is Diana Ross's most significant contribution to music, film, entertainment, or just anything in the whole? What do you think because everyone has like, people have like multifaceted lives. We're all multidimensional, but like, what do you think Diana Ross's purpose is? I mean, we're fascinated by her. We see her in the concert all the time. We buy her records. It's evident people like her records, not as much as we do, but like she has a lot of record sales and she's had a lot of number one singles around the planet, not just in the US and the UK. I mean, she's topped the charts in Zimbabwe with Battlefield and like weird Behind Closed Doors was big in top 10 top 5 in South Africa. Like there's a lot of songs that you don't realize because I'm like a chart freak. They're really she just hits everywhere. So what is her legacy? What would you think her lasting
Um,
legacy is?
I've thought about this a lot, and I think she's a trailblazer. I think she's crossed all the genres and boundaries, that she's opened the doors for other people in a really classy, graceful way. It used to annoy me sometimes that the answers to her question in interviews were a bit ambiguous. They weren't kind of direct. I can
Right.
understand now why she's done that, because actually she hasn't wanted to sort of like just be known for political views or whatever, but her legacy is undeniable. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I've really noticed is that she has consistently reinvented herself and moved with the time. Like I said about subtle things with hair, like many people say she's never changed. Yes, she has, but I just think she's constantly reinvented herself. I think she might have fallen down, but she'll always get back up.
Yeah,
And
that
I think
rising
she's
is
done it
very
with
cool. Yeah.
style and grace, and I think that she can hold her head high. Like all of us, she's fallen in a ditch a few times, maybe even the gutter, but she's got back up, and yeah, it's almost like evolved and grown constantly. So although people say, oh, she's given up, she's retired, look at the YSL promotion at the
I
minute.
was going to just mention that. Thank you for doing that. Yes. So she went
Yeah.
from fragrances to being the face of YSL. Now, my friend Raphael Pita actually lives in Paris. He's an amazing makeup artist. And I pretty much begged him, please go outside, take pictures. And he did. And I was hoping that Diana herself repurposed one of his photos. In my fantasy, she did. But anyway, the point is that um, are there any pictures of Diana Ross in bus shelters or anything in England?
Not that I've seen yet. I've only seen the photograph that's been posted online in Paris and Europe. But I've not actually been in London yet. So I'll have to ask some of my friends in London whether they've
Well,
seen anything
I'll
yet.
have to like well, there's a empty billboard across in my on my office window at the university I work at and teach at, and it's
Okay.
empty in Times Square, so I'm just hoping that that's I'm going to look out the window. There's YSL. I'll look at it every day. Because like the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum is also near the college that I work at in Times
I
Square,
know
and
that. Yeah.
I was really sad when there was an incident that happened in our country with guns, and I said, "Oh, I had to leave the office. I have to go find the wax Diana," and I like goes by it, and just it made me feel so much better. Anyway, so not like the real Diana, but the wax Diana. It looks pretty cool. She's got
Yeah.
pose,
I
got
remember.
the
Yeah.
mahogany look with the lashes upper and lower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the dream duet, number 7. If you could create a musical fantasy collaboration for Diana Ross, who would
Hmm.
you have her to sing with? Remember, it could be living. We're living in an age of artificial intelligence. It could be someone that's deceased. It could be someone that's invented. It could be, like a cartoon character for all we know with artificial intelligence. Oh, and who would you pair with Diana Ross with as a dream duet? And why?
Okay.
Why is the question?
Okay.
Just
Well, I've
who?
actually picked three, so I'll go really
Okay, tell
quickly.
us all three. Tell us all three. The public
Okay.
needs to know.
Luther Vandross, because
Ooh,
it's
the
a
song.
travesty that she only got to do one track with him.
Yes.
I think that could have been an incredible album. I love what he did with Dionne Warwick. I love what he did with the two Aretha Franklin albums. I just
Yeah.
think musically it would have been a marriage made in heaven. The other
Yes.
one is Pharrell Williams. I think he really respects her. All of the stuff that he's done, I can see would lend itself really well to her voice and a duet. I just think his production values as well would make a really good album. And then after the Alicia Keys, I think that they appear to connect. They appear
I
to get on.
do.
I
She
think they,
interviewed her in a
yeah,
magazine in
correct. Yeah,
2005.
that's
Yeah.
right. And I
Yeah.
also think she's got a lot. They have a lot of respect for each other. But I kind of think that it would be a marriage made in heaven. I think she could produce her. I like what she did with Christina Aguilera on the Back to Basics album.
Right.
You can tell it's an Alicia Keys track. She's respected Christina Aguilera's sort of style and vocals, but I think that it could surprise us. But I guess they're my dream duets. Not just duet production. I'd expect a duet, absolutely, or two, if there was an album. But
So
they're like sitting ducks, so I'm sure they'd just snap her up immediately and say yes. They'd make a window in their diaries.
well, she definitely has people that want her to act still. I know there were two directors in America that have kind of really, not I wouldn't say kind of like really hounded her with not calling her, and she's like, "No, I don't want to work with you." Um,
Yeah,
so this is not a question in the list, and this is not meant to like. I was just curious, like, I'm finding myself giving a lot of my memorabilia away. I've given it to Dustin because I don't need it as much. And there's a young man that I'm also packing up things because I have duplicates of everything. Like, it's like it's not even duplicates. It's like I have like, I was like, do I really need, this? And so I thought, well, this young person needs it more. You seem to love Diana Ross, and I would assume you have a lot of things. If you were to give them, what's your favorite Diana Ross thing that you have that really means a lot to you, and who would you give it away to if you were to like have to give it
okay,
away, or you felt you needed the spirit moved you to give it away?
yeah.
For example, I'm going to show you this. This people in my life don't believe me, but this is a genuine
Ideal.
Diana
Yeah.
Ross, the Supremes doll. It's
Yeah.
tall. It's actually the Chrissy mold, and someone that had it before me clearly cut her hair. And eyes go up and down, and the shoes are like nursing shoes. They're like, or like what Miss Gulch wore in The Wizard of Oz, the Wicked Witch, before she became the Wicked Witch in Kansas. They're just not glamorous. But I'm gonna repurpose the feathers, and I'm gonna reroute the hair, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
maybe I'll give it to someone or keep it. But like, is there something that you have like this,
Yeah.
or something that is a memorabilia thing that's just priceless? You just can't seem to give it want to
Yeah,
give.
I think my favorite item, if I was to gift it, my favorite item is my 1977 Migos Diana Ross doll with the, and she's still in immaculate condition,
It
hair, yeah,
stands
all of
like
it.
this.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. The same as
But like she's giving
Farah
like
and
the,
everything.
yeah. Yeah,
She's
and
in a
there's Sarah.
box.
Yeah, and the blue
I
box
got her
with the
in,
fur.
correct. I got her in the early days of eBay. She's really precious. And when I was at art college, I actually cast her in a photo shoot and finished up using that doll for my final show. So it was almost
Yeah.
like I used her as the model. In fact, you might be able to see there's a great. I'll turn the camera around. Can you see? There's a great big frame with
Oh, I
the face.
love that. That's
Yeah.
very blue. But it's very Migo black and white.
Yeah.
Well, when I give my Diana Ross doll, Migo doll away, because I can't hold on to anything, right? I think I need to buy that print. Is there an edition? We collect art here, so I mean, there's a lot of cool pieces of art. That's the Ronettes by Steven.
Yeah.
Taboo. You may know Taboo. There's another Taboo. And there's all these are Steven Tation. And then actually in
Wow.
front of me is an Adrian grave rubbing or by Scott Covert, who is a dear friend, who actually is his first one is Florence Ballard.
Oh
And
wow.
I made a Florence Ballard puppet I made all the Supremes during lockdown. And I did all the gowns because I was really sad because you know what I mean. And so I was bored. And I gave Stephen a Florence Ballard doll and it was big and it was stuffed.
Wow.
We put it on the gravesite. And then the daughter wrote to me saying, I don't like that you're doing it. And I felt so bad. Like I felt terrible that they would think that a doll would be something that would be offensive. And I never want to offend anyone, especially the Rosses. So anyway, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for letting me do this and
You're
allowing me to ask
welcome.
you these questions. Are there any things that you want to say what Diana Ross means to you? Because I've known you
Oh,
for years, and it's just so nice
yeah.
that we're connected in real life. And I really love seeing you this past summer with the
Yes.
2023 show, which was fantastic. I didn't get to talk to you after. It was really good. I was really impressed how good she sounded and looked and really wow. But what was there
Yeah.
something, is there something you want to like, what is there something that
Yeah. Basically, Diana Ross has been there all through my life. My parents played her music when I was a child. It's on the radio. I grew up with it. I first really got into it in 1977. I was at an all boys school, and this guy bought the vinyl of 20 Golden Grapes with the three lips on the front. And then it made me explore further. So by the time we got to 1980 and Diana was released, that blew me away. But I would say all through my life, no matter what, she's always kind of been there. She's been a consistent. So for me personally, I see her as a fierce fellow traveler, if you know what I mean. It's almost like you can tell that she is somebody, as I said earlier, that dusted herself down, picked herself up. But I really like the her character and her ethics about things. It's really inspiring to me. I think as a gay man, the question's been posed so many times. Why do we like Diana Ross? Why do we gay men like Judy Garland, Liza Minnelli? I think we recognize something in them. And I think that a lot of us are kind of like survivors. And
Yeah.
we've had to
You
sort
need
of
to
like,
read The Queen's Throat by Wayne Kostobaum. It's I used it in my defense when I was in graduate school. It helped save my life in that my dissertation where it was like it's called Style and Homosexuality or like and it's called
okay,
the Diva Chooses You. I think it would help your argument in life or
yeah.
your mission. But really no, but it's
Yeah,
true. There's also like Susan Sontag has notes on camp, which is like, and then there's like uses of camp is another essay. But the Queen's Throat really like spoke to me in the 90s as a young person. Because like people would say that, like, well, honey, man, yeah, 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 yeah. It would why do people like this and that, and it was kind of like it's kind of like the expression like, oh, he's openly gay. Is it like is something wrong with being gay or
yeah, yeah,
something well, I mean, you could say, well, yeah, it says Leviticus, it's this, or there's those so many systemic things that have been said over the years and course of history. Why? But it's just interesting how, like, words and just people's opinions about things. But there is certainly a pull to certain performers and
yes,
being, yeah. So cool. Well, thank you again and again. I until we meet again, and
yeah.
and keep up the energy and the love and on all your salons. And who knows, maybe I'll be in London one day and I can get, you can
Do it.
you could do my hair.
I can. Thank you for having me, Timothy. I've really enjoyed it. It's great to see you.
So this will be
Bye.
this will be on soon. Be good. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.